Field Report Number FA0004, Cycle 73. Subject Species Homo sapiens. Observed collective ingestion of a heated, dark aqueous solution derived from processed plant seeds, designated coffee. Subjects exhibit pre-consumption, lethargy, impaired communication, and reduced motor coordination, followed by rapid normalization post-ingestion. Repeated dosing occurs at predictable intervals, accompanied by rigid preparation rituals and specialized equipment. Deprivation triggers irritability, cranial pain, and social dysfunction. Despite clear signs of physiological dependence, subjects label the behavior routine and display no avoidance response. Unclear why a voluntary toxin-mediated activation cycle is required for baseline function. Humans routinely ingest a bitter, heated plant extract each morning to restore baseline cognitive function, indicating dependence rather than enhancement. Field observations confirm that many individuals cannot initiate basic operational tasks, including speech coherence and coordinated locomotion, prior to consuming this substance identified as coffee. Despite its unpleasant taste profile, which many attempt to mask with sugars or dairy secretions, the substance is pursued with urgency, immediately upon waking. Central Command initially hypothesized this was a cultural preference, but evidence suggests a physiological reliance, as subjects describe themselves as non-functional without it. On our home world, cognitive activation occurs naturally upon waking cycle completion, requiring no external chemical intervention. Humans, however, appear to have outsourced this process to a brewed liquid derived from roasted seeds. The contradiction is notable. They willingly induce a daily state of deficit, only to chemically reverse it hours later. This cycle repeats with remarkable consistency, suggesting a normalized dependency pattern rather than an optional enhancement ritual. Humans exhibit withdrawal symptoms including irritability, fatigue, and cranial discomfort when deprived of coffee, further confirming chemical reliance. When access to the substance is delayed or restricted, subjects display rapid behavioral deterioration, often within a single planetary rotation. Reported symptoms include headaches, reduced motor enthusiasm, and increased hostility toward nearby organisms. One subject described the experience as not being a person yet, which implies a temporary suspension of identity until chemical restoration occurs. This is of particular interest to the Council, as it suggests that human self-perception is partially contingent on stimulant presence. On our planet, withdrawal from any substance is considered a system failure and is treated immediately, yet humans appear to accept and even anticipate this daily decline as routine. They knowingly enter a state of deficit, only to correct it with the same substance that perpetuates the cycle. This pattern resembles a closed-loop dependency system, rather than a freely chosen behavior. Humans have constructed elaborate social rituals around coffee consumption that obscure its function as a stimulant delivery mechanism. Rather than treating coffee as a purely pharmacological agent, humans embed its use within complex cultural practices, including meetings, social bonding events, and solitary reflection periods. Specialized environments called coffee shops exist primarily to facilitate the communal ingestion of this substance, often accompanied by ambient noise and non-essential conversation. The preparation process itself is ritualized, with multiple brewing techniques, temperature preferences, and personalized modifications, all of which appear to distract from the primary purpose: stimulant intake. Central Command notes that, on our world, chemical consumption is efficient and devoid of ceremony, minimizing time expenditure and maximizing clarity of intent. Humans, in contrast, appear to derive secondary emotional satisfaction from the process, suggesting that the ritual has become as important as the chemical effect. This dual-layer dependency, both physiological and cultural, complicates any attempt at behavioral separation. Humans frequently escalate dosage throughout the day to maintain alertness, indicating tolerance development and progressive reliance. Initial morning consumption often fails to sustain desired cognitive output across the full activity cycle, leading to additional intake periods labeled as coffee breaks. These breaks are socially sanctioned and sometimes institutionally enforced, further normalizing repeated dosing behavior. Subjects may consume multiple units in varying sizes, with some escalating to highly concentrated forms known as espresso, which deliver increased stimulant levels in reduced volume. This suggests an adaptive response to diminishing sensitivity, a phenomenon consistent with tolerance development. On our planet, such escalation would trigger immediate review by regulatory systems, as it indicates loss of homeostatic balance. Humans, however, not only accept this progression, but integrate it into daily scheduling structures. The result is a sustained chemical modulation of consciousness throughout the day, raising questions from the Council about whether unaltered human cognition is now a rare or transitional state.